Welcome to April's Business Outlook Survey press conference call. My name is Catherine Dibbling, Senior Media Representative in the Public Affairs Department of the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. And with me today is Jerry Carlino, an economist in the bank's research department, and he's a special guest this month, standing in for Mike Trebing. Now we will give a brief summary of the report and take questions from one of our reporters on the call, Lorraine McCarthy from BNA. Jerry?
Thank you. The results from the Business Outlook Survey suggest that regional manufacturing activity continued to show improvements in April, but at a slower pace than in March. Nearly all of the survey's broadest indicators remain positive, but fell from their readings in the previous month. Increases in input prices continue to be widespread, and more firms have been reporting increases in prices for their own manufactured goods in recent months. Labor markets were positive as firms continue to add to their payrolls. The survey's broad indicators of future activity fell notably this month. However, most firms expect continued growth over the next 6 months. In this month's special question, firms were asked about any adverse effects of the recent crisis in Japan or other international events on the availability of raw materials or other intermediate goods. 80% of the respondents reported no effect. 10% indicated some current adverse effects, and 10% expressed concerns about possible future events.
Thank you, Jerry. Lorraine McCarthy from BNA, do you have any questions?
I'm just wondering if you have any comments about that drop in future expectations this month compared to previous months.
Right. Well, with the in the future, not the current, I take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the drop in the future, I mean, we had a particularly strong reading from our manufacturers in March, and so it was only natural to expect some pullback in April. In fact, if you average the 2 months, the future activity index is still at relatively high levels. So I guess what I'm saying to you is that I wouldn't make too much out of the 1 month swings, especially when the previous month was at a 27-year high.
How about the current?
Same situation. Again, the current, the March reading of 43 was the highest in 27 years. It's true we declined to just under 20, but again, if you average that, it's in pretty good range.
Okay.
Do you have any follow-ups, Lorraine?
No, I don't think so.
Well, thank you, and hope to hear from you again in May.
Thank you.
Now, we'll have a brief conversation with Jerry Carlino, economist in our research department, and myself, Catherine Dibbling, Senior Media Representative. I'm not an economist or an economic analyst in the Public Affairs Department. So we talked about the GAC, and I think you gave a great answer. So let's turn our attention to prices now. We're still 45 points higher than 7 months ago.
Right.
But the prices paid index did inch down this month, and the prices received increased by 5 points. So do you have any sense as to why we are seeing higher output prices?
Right. Well, I think it's only natural to eventually see some pass-through of higher cost into higher output prices. However, if you look at the Business Outlook Survey, one of the things you'll notice is that 67% of the respondents indicated that they were not raising their output prices. So I think that's a fairly good sign. And also 40% of the firms indicated that they are not seeing their input costs increase. So this is a diffusion index. It's hard to know exactly how much prices are rising. You just know some firms are raising prices. We don't know if it's a tiny amount or a large amount. But overall, the vast majority of firms are not really increasing their prices, their output prices. So.
Let me ask you to clarify something. Diffusion index. I
Right.
think that's a term that many people get a little confused about.
Sure.
So.
Well, it's just we asked firms, if they changed their input prices or output prices over the past month, and So they either say yes or no. And we look at the percentage you say yes versus the percentage you say no. So the index is composed of, it's a difference between those who are saying they're increasing, say, their prices, and those who say they're decreasing their prices. So if it's positive, we know more firms are increasing their prices than decreasing it, but that's what it tells you. It doesn't tell you anything about how much prices have changed.
That's an important point. Okay.
Yes, sure.
And the Future Activity Index, the one that looks 6 months ahead,
Right.
fell by 29 points this
Right.
month. Does that have anything to do, or can you have any sense that has anything to do with the international uncertainty?
It could. I mean, I think that generally people are less certain about things than they were last month, and I think that's what it's telling you. But I would expect to see a rebound next month. And again, I think at a reading of like 35, that's not particularly that low. Yeah, I'm just trying to look at what we historically see, but it's still in a good range. And the other point is that if we look at our employment, I mean, I think that's what most people care about is what's the employment situation like. And actually, more firms are planning on adding to their payrolls 6 months out than reducing them. And the payroll index went up 7 points this month. So
Well, that's good news.
I guess. Hope so. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry.
You're welcome, Kathy.
You've just been watching April's Business Outlook Survey press conference call and a conversation with Jerry Carlino, economist in a bank's research department. We will be speaking with you again on Thursday, May 19th, 2011 at 10 a.m.